House Republicans have unveiled a broad tax overhaul plan that would touch virtually all of us Americans and every corner of the economy. It would offer sharply lower rates for corporations and reduce personal taxes for many. But it would give fewer deductions to home buyers and families with steep medical bills. A recent report also says the tax bill would wipe out a key medical deduction for many elderly Americans in nursing homes. Hornbuckle is a senior care expert, and he owns several assisted living communities in Dallas. He joins us via Skype now. You work with seniors all the time. Can you tell us about this deduction and how families use it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, with my interaction with so many members of the senior community, throughout the course of the year, I'll get a request from the families to say, hey, can you give us a list of all of our expenses through the year? And what I've learned over time is they're using that money to try to qualify for various deductions that are available. And the main one is that if you spend more than 10% of your income on medical expenses, which includes long-term care, you can deduct it. So if you're on a fixed income and you're spending $4,000 or $5,000 a month on, or in some cases $9,000 or $10,000 a month on long-term care, you can deduct that money, provided that you aren't a real high income earner. So this is a very important deduction for people that are paying out of pocket for their care. And it's kind of stunning because you would think the government would encourage as many people as possible to pay out of pocket themselves, because obviously that's less burden for the system as a whole. So it's seems like a very unfortunate, very misguided direction that they're taking the tax code in.
And you mentioned the fixed income. I feel like that's one of those, as I get older and I see families taking care of their mom and dad or even grandparents, they do talk about how much every single dollar matters to that individual they're caring for. How will seniors be affected the most by this tax reform that I know they're saying they're trying to help as many people as possible, but it seems like it is going to affect them significantly?
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily a huge dollar amount in terms of all the deductions out there. It's only about a $10 billion annual cost to the government to provide this deduction. So it's not like it's when you're talking about a several $1 trillion budget, it's not really substantial in that regard. But for those people that use it, it's substantial. Now imagine this: you're on a fixed income and you have a certain amount of money saved up, and you're spending some of that money down. If you start raising their tax bills, then that might mean that instead of their money lasting 6 years or 7 years, maybe it lasts 5. So it creates these situations where people could plan and do everything the right way. And, think about how the financial planning industry works. We tell everybody, have a plan, make a plan. Well, you just simply can't account for huge changes in your tax liabilities, just sort of sweepingly coming into play. And so, if you're going to live for 6 or 7 years and now your money runs out in 4 or 5, it certainly can create a lot of tough situations. Now that person is being forced to relocate to maybe a government facility, which are already overcrowded and strained, and they basically get uprooted from their home.
Younger parents are now taking care of their parents and trying to take care of their children. So on the surface, it sounds like something that will affect seniors, but this is going to affect families as well all across America as that cost trickles down to siblings.
Sure, absolutely. So they're going to be faced with a decision: does every family member kick in $500 a month or $1,000 a month for mom or dad's care, for example? And so what happens is that's less money they can spend on their own families, or less money they can contribute to their own retirement savings. A lot of the people that we're talking about here, these are people that, stormed the beaches of Normandy. These are people that, did, the greatest generation. And, their reward, apparently, for living a good life and budgeting their money and doing things the right way is to be told, hey, we're going to jack up your taxes so that we can pay for a tax cut that will primarily seem to benefit very wealthy people at this point. The bill's not finalized, but right now it certainly doesn't have a good look to it, and certainly looks like that unfortunately the senior citizens and their families are being thrown under the bus.
Hornbuckle, senior care expert, thank you so much for joining us on this story that we will continue following.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Carla.
Stick around. It's Friday. We've got free music coming up.